Hello, this is Martin Brossman, K4ITL, and I asked Charles Murray if he'd make a video talking about and demonstrating him running a net on his phone. He does an outstanding net that's on 224.160 in the Raleigh area that has a tone of 91.5, and we'll put a link to this Facebook group below. I want to mention one more thing that Charles and I started, and that's the North Carolina Amateur Radio Operators Group on Facebook. It is designed to be an umbrella group that's to support clubs and nets and people interested in ham radio or actively involved in it, or fans of North Carolina people involved in it all over our great state. Please consider joining it. And now I want to switch to Charles.
All right, let's flip the camera around here, what it takes to do an amateur radio net. First of all, I have a lot of radios on when I do my net. I have the scanners, shortwave stuff, the Unication, the Motorola's. The Motorola radio that I call the net with is this Motorola right here, and that's what I'll be using tonight. It's a CDM 1550 LS. I go through and I get a question for the group, and I have one for tonight on my log sheet. Thanks to Susan for doing it. It's just a simple Excel spreadsheet. We've got a little improvised webcam here. We're going to try to live stream it. I may go downstairs and try to get an actual tripod. It might work better. But anyway, it's the first time for trying this. But I've got the net script here, which I often drift away from and kind of ad-lib and do it my own way. But it's a lot of fun. We usually have 20 to 25 check-ins. Try to keep it interesting by having a question for the group and talking about my experiences throughout the net and interacting with everybody that checks in. Try to make sure I get their call signs right and that I don't forget anybody. And this net usually lasts about an hour or so, and it's a lot of fun. And that's the whole purpose, is to pass information along, welcome new people to the frequencies, and answer people's questions. We have items for sale or trade, announcements, keep up with weather, current events, things that affect the community as the virus that's going on now and other stuff. Try to keep it positive. So that's about it. I've been calling nets on amateur radio since 2002, I believe, 2003, somewhere back in there. And the 220 net I've done for about 2 years now. So anybody can do it. If you're good with public speaking, that helps. I used to be in radio and TV for a long time, so it kind of comes naturally, and I have kind of my own flow that I do. I'm going to record the entire net tonight as well as live stream it on Facebook. All right, let's kick it off. It's the Tuesday night, 7 o'clock edition of the PCRN 220 Rag Chew Net, Piedmont Coastal Repeater Network Net. This is Charles, K4DCR, and I'm located in North Raleigh. I'll be your net control station for tonight's net, which we are attempting to live stream on the Facebook 224.16 page. Seems to be working. Net meets every Tuesday and Wednesday at 7. Robert has the Wednesday night net. I have the Tuesday, and it's directed by Net Control. All stations are welcome and encouraged to participate, fostering fun and friendship here on the repeater. Repeater is located in Garner, and it uses a 91.5 tone, negative 1.6 offset. To check in, call Net Control, K4DCR, pause to check for Dublin, give your call sign, name, and your location. Let me know if you are short on time, portable, mobile, whatever. Wife's calling you for dinner, we'll get to you first after the roll call. And I do have a question for the group tonight, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. At this time, any stations with ham-related bulletins, traffic, or announcements, or any items for sale or trade, call Net Control, K4DCR. None noted, so we'll go ahead and roll through and do the check-ins. starting with A through N, Alpha through November. Calling that control KI4DCR.
KI4DCR.
I-40, give you the low speed. Give you the low
This is
speed.
Charles, N4GEB, Bob and Clayton. KI4DCR.
Glenwood Avenue, Town Station Security. Point of activation, the entry exit.
Please check in KG4BDX, Robert and Pilot.
KI4DCR. N4GTI, Will and Raleigh. Evening, Charles.
Zulu, Romeo, KI4DCR. This is KN8DAP, David and Nightdale. Check me in, Charles. KI4DCR. KD4HJP, Freddie Rocky Mountain.
Well, you're doing
KI4DCR.
with that HT, very good.
Please check in Whiskey Delta 4, Mike Bravo, Mike in Smithfield.
So it's definitely working for you. And yeah, I'm just in here talking to a contact just met named Peter. And I guess he's in here listening. So
That was a good first half.
like I say, my name
And we had a bunch of Dublin, so I'm going to go through. I had one early check-in, KM4YTF Joe. He was in and out, just pulling in his drive. Had N4GEB Bob is in. Robert's in, KG4BDX and Pilot. Will, got you marked in. KN8DAP David, good to have you back. KE4HJP Freddie, welcome. And a new checker inner, although he is a seasoned amateur radio personality, WD4 Mike Bravo. Mike, got you in as well. Anybody else, A through N, that I might have missed in the Dublin or just might be tuning in?
I'm in the north of Ireland.
All right, second half of the alphabet, Oscar through Zulu, O through Z.
Back around to the GRZ. And maybe got an answer.
KI4DCR.
Go ahead.
K4PNT Randy in Southwest Raleigh.
And KI4. Familiar with it? Kerry. KERRY. It's actually named after Kerry County, Ireland. And I'm about 12 miles
KI4DCR.
here in North Carolina.
Please check in John, N4YFU.
Okay, and a lot. Again, it's Kerry and it's W1ZRZ in North Carolina.
Clear of Hillsborough, returning to
All right, got three more fine stations. KE4P and T. Randy is in. Joe in Wake Forest, I barely even got any of that, but I did get that it was you. I'm going to mark you in and out, but I'm going to come back to you and see if your signal improves as we get down the list. So I'll put you back in. N4YFU, John inside the belt line. I've got you marked in. Anybody else, A through Z, that wants to check in?
From the North Carolina to the HT. No question.
4OSS, Charlie and Night.
And I was telling Peter I'm using a network radio, which is, and I had about a couple of months.
I got you, Charlie, marked in, WA4OSS. There was somebody else, Dublin. Anybody else, A through Z?
Working good. Had my license for probably about 27 years. Kind of been in and out the hobby thing, quiet. Kind of fell out. Then a couple of months.
All right, the question for the group tonight is, what is your favorite aspect or part of amateur radio? Is it skip induction, HF, contest, handfest, which hopefully we'll get back to here shortly, antenna building? What's your favorite part of the hobby? So that's the topic for tonight's net. And we're going to start it off with N4GEB, Bob and Clayton. You're up.
Well, hey, Charles and the rest of the group. Is there a category for all of the above? Just joking around. I would say probably is the camaraderie that you make through it. I really enjoy talking to a lot of the same people over again. So I also enjoy HF and meeting new folks. I do some of the other digital modes and so on, and I find it fascinating from the technical aspects, but it doesn't really hit the spot when it comes to socialization. But now I've stepped up and I'm actually... Anyway, good day here today. Beautiful weather. And kind of reading the mail before the net started. Charles, we've got lots of room for you down here in Clayton if you ever want to come this way. Back to net control for GED. But I haven't made any contacts with it yet.
I wouldn't rule it out, my friend. Looking at all the suburbs of Wake County and beyond. The only reason we're thinking Wendell is it's just a little closer to the Outer Banks, and we've learned we can get back into Raleigh from there in about 14 minutes or less by way of 64, so that's been good. Thanks, man. I'm glad you could join us tonight. And for me, I really like the band openings on 2 meters. That's my big thing, is making some distant contacts on there. And I also enjoy 10 and 6 meter openings as well, which we've had some of lately. All right, let's go down east to Pilot, Franklin County, KG4BDX.
Okay, Eddie, I'm just wondering where you're located with your microstar link.
All right, Charles. Well, had a quiet day. Anyway, I was thinking about this cat. The thing that made me think about it was I fed this cat a whole can of mackerel this morning. She ate the whole thing. I was thinking about the old Amos and the kingfish. Anyway, all right. We went to Carly C's this morning, and I told him to go down to paper aisle. Let's see what it got. No toilet paper. Oh well. Let's see. I let Precious out the back door a little while ago. I turned to go back in the door. Well, she comes right back in the door. This is what you call a domesticated cat. This is a true house cat. And answer your question about what I like, I think I like just checking into nets. So turning back to net control, KG4BDX.
Robert, I'm right there with you. Checking into nets has been a lot of fun. I remember when we did that challenge of 7 nets in 7 days, and most people did it. And Joe, TTO, man, he not only called a bunch of nets and checked into a bunch of nets, and I think he ended up with like 14 for that time period. So that was quite impressive. All right, let's go over towards the NC State area and pick up Will N4GTI.
K4DCR in the net, N4GTI. Well, had a good day, enjoying this cool weather, and things are growing just nicely. I'm looking forward to some a little bit warmer weather, but I love the cool mornings. As far as favorite part of amateur radio, I think when I started I think antennas are my favorite part. Even just receiving antennas, I started, make a little crystal radio as a kid. This is long before I had a ham license, and just making that little radio and running a long copper wire out the window to a nearby tree. And just, what you could pick up, just, with microwatts or nanowatts that make it to your antenna and travel in, and that can carry information. That always fascinated me. Building antennas, with simple materials you can get from a hardware store, and understanding SWR and things that to tune them right. I just have always found that fascinating. Just the whole subject of why antennas radiate or receive is just fascinating to me. That you can get a signal out like that. And of course, it grew from that to, meeting folks and ham fests. I love ham fests, stuff like that. So, but I'd have to say it was antennas. Hope everybody's doing well on the net. I'll turn it back to you, KI4DCR N4GTI.
Thanks, man. I just got a hello here from Lindsley Berry, W2JWW and KM4ISJ in Kannapolis. on the Facebook. Thanks for joining in and watching. I got K1SNB, I think, is in here, N0RNE, and a bunch of other people. Looks like we've got 6 or 7 people on the video, and I switched the feed around to show some of the radios instead of just me. All right, let's go to David, KN8DAP in Nightdale.
Hey, Charles, throw that question at me one more time.
Yeah, what's your favorite aspect or part of the amateur radio hobby? Was it HF or Hamfest or antenna building, inversions? What, anything you got?
Okay, let's see. I think putting something together is really neat, but talking to the folks and then going out and finally meeting them somewhere, that's really kind of cool too. I've been to the unofficial South Wake breakfast a few times, and I really enjoyed our get-together up there at, the Plains and Zebulon. That part of it was really enjoyable to me, and as someone I'm really looking forward to doing a fun and getting somebody fined heavily for violating FCC rules. Other than that,
Yeah, me too.
I'm only half joking on that last part. Anyway, other than that, I just enjoy the nature of troubleshooting why something's not working right and getting it better. HF I can't say yet because I don't have my setup for HF yet. I really want to do it. I've got my general. I just don't have the equipment yet. So, I think in terms of everything else, the top of it would definitely be meeting the folks I've spoken to on the radio. And it's really interesting to put a face to a voice. And that'd be about it. I'm going to turn this back over to you, Net Control. K4DCR, this is KN8DAP.
Thanks. I'm in the opposite boat. I've got all the HF equipment, but I don't have the license to go with it. So, got to work on that one. And you'd figure with all this stay-at-home time that I'd have plenty of time. But I don't. We have had so much going on around here, we wondered how we ever even worked with all this going on. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and appreciate the rag chew. And I'm with you on the fox hunting thing. I'm tired of QRM on repeaters, unnecessary transmissions, and stuff like that, and we're working on dealing with that. All right, Rocky Mount, KE4HJP. Freddie, I heard your dogs barking the other morning when you were talking to somebody. They were wound up. I figured they'd seen something on TV that got them excited. Go ahead.
K4HJP, Freddie and Rocky Mount. Yeah, they do get wound up sometimes. All they have to see is a bird outside, and they try to turn the door down. And actually, yesterday, a squirrel come up on the back porch, and of course, that oh man, what can I say? That's dynamite and a fuse, lighting the fuse on dynamite. So anyway. Let me answer to your question. In my aspect, listening to DX stations on the AM radio, and then I purchased the HF radio way back yonder with the intentions of getting my license, further my license, but I never did. And but in listening on that, the HF radio, to people that I had met at Hamfest, and it was just and building antennas. When I learned that the frequency and the length. The length of the antenna and the frequency you wanted to get was closely related. When I found that out and learned how to figure that out, that meant a lot too. Oh, and Charles, I wanted to tell you that in your situation, there's a real nice house for sale in Nashville. Don't rule that out.
That's true.
I'll
there
turn
is.
it back over to you, and you're doing a good job. K4ITL.
With a year's worth of free tax returns. I hear it might be a good place to get your taxes done too. That was good, Freddie. And that is a very, very nice house. Unfortunately, a little bit too far of a drive for the type of business I'm in. But if it wasn't for that and I was a few years older and retired, I'd probably be looking that direction. Thanks. That was a good rag chew. All things considered, that was funny. All right, let's go to Mike, WD4MB. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Charles, and the rest of the folks assembled here together tonight. And this is the first month that I've checked in with my new Clinko T35 T3. Wow, get on out of here. It's got all these handles to it. Okay, the question for this evening. After I got on that, I did get the antenna. I'm not in a restricted zone, but I was too lazy to go up and climb up on headlight and put another antenna up on the outrigger. So I did go up in this tallest attic peak that I got, and using the vertical dipole that I made, and it seems to be doing okay. I can even tee up the rocket pump repeater now. Don't think I haven't talked to anybody on it, but I can't get there. So let me reset this thing.
That's good. I can't even get the Rocky Mountain repeater from here.
That remains, I'm going to have to say the best part of ham radio that I like is the bucket. Just one part of it that I like. The rest you can have. Now, the bucket contains the following: DXing, reg, local, satellite, moon bounce, the technical aspect, building things, tearing down things, restoring things, old stuff, new stuff, the newest gadgets, the oldest rigs, the oldest amplifiers, building out HF amplifiers, tearing HF amplifiers down, UHF amplifiers, UHF amplifiers, the lower frequencies, which include the 2200 meter and the 630 meter, all the way up through the 23 centimeter and beyond. I like 10 gigahertz, I like 37 gigahertz, I like sideband, FM, AM, really like AM. The digital modes, not all I'm enthused about CW, but I like restoring heat kits, I like getting new things out the box. Love to see one, and I need to go to food line and see what I can get for ham radio use. So anyhow, with that, I think I've pretty well covered the things I like operating. I like, I love to teach, love to troubleshoot. That's all in the bucket. So the thing I like about ham radio the most is the bucket. So as long as it's in the bucket, I like antenna builders. I love me some antenna builders. That's in the bucket too. Back to net control, WD4MB.
Susan's over here in the background. She was just like, wow. Yeah, that was pretty much sums it up. That was about everything. And how in the world you can remember and say all that stuff that fast without making a mistake. That's impressive. You're in the wrong business. You need to be an auctioneer or something like that. Radio DJ or something. That was impressive. We picked up 4 more check-ins via Facebook Messenger through the video here that I'll get to in a few minutes. Just want to let these people know I got you. They couldn't make the trip in either with what they had or they were too far away. But I want to add them to the list for just this one time because they count, because they're listening to us and they're making an effort. All right, let's go to Randy, Southwest Raleigh, KE4PNT.
Hello, Charles.
Yeah, I got Herb, KW4BT. I got Trip, N4NTO. Jeff, N0RNE. And Richard, W4ARX.
And I gotta do some writing.
And I see Todd's watching now, too. Hey, what's up?
But I have time to do that now. I need to get over this writer's block.
Is that still?
And
Does it look like it's recording?
What I like about amateur radio is the friendships and socializing I'm able to do without leaving the house. That's been my favorite for me. With my illness, I can't get out of the house much. Got lots of really good friends out there in Radio Land. K4ITL.
Randy, that has been especially fruitful during all this latest, as they call it on the commercials on TV, uncertain times. It's really been, and I'll tell you, there's some good things about this staying at home and quarantining and all that, and that is, it's got everybody to spend time with their family, for one. It's pretty much forced them to do it, and it's gotten a whole heck of a lot of people interested in ham radio. More testing, and I mean, I've probably put 10 or 15 people in the Martin and I's group on Facebook that say, hey, I just want to get into this and learn more about it. So that's been very cool. Speaking of that Facebook group, please, please, please pass the word around. It's North Carolina Amateur Radio Operators. Facebook, North Carolina Amateur Radio Operators. Send a request in. I'll approve you. I do all the approving on there. We went from having about 100 members a few weeks ago. Now we have almost 600 across the state. And we do an internet, an IRL, not IRLP, I'll get it right in a minute, Echo Link only net, the first Monday of each month at 7 o'clock. And the last one we had 24 people check in. So that was pretty cool. I had never done one, but Richard N4AED was the host on his node, and what a great job he did. All right, any questions about that, you can direct it towards the end of the net, and I'll be glad to answer them. Let's try Joe in Wake Forest and see if his signals come back up. W4TTO.
W4TTO, can you copy me, Charles?
Yes, much better.
All right, well, it was a good day today.
Good job, David, because I don't know who that was, but they didn't have much power.
My favorite aspect of amateur radio, there's a couple. In addition to local radioing, I'm a casual vehicular and an avid QSL card collector. I love collecting QSL cards. And since my signal is up and down, I will turn it back to you, Charles. You got a good one going. W4TTO back to net control.
Well, your signal held out well for that. And I've seen some of your QSL cards. You've got quite an impressive collection on that. And you're a heck of a good net control operator, because I've experienced that as well. Always do a great job. Have to get you to call one of these nets over here one night. Okay, N4YFU, I was down in your neighborhood today, inside the Beltline, rumming around and doing lawns. Pick it up, sir. Go ahead. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Charles, and everybody on the net. This is N4YFU, John, inside the Beltline. Well, I like ham radio, even though I'm not that active in it, except on the nets. I need to talk a bit more, I suppose. But in any event, I'm interested in antennas also, especially TV antennas. I've got one installed on the outside of my house about 35 or 40 feet off the ground, and then I've got another TV antenna installed in my attic. And,
I'm going to put a TV antenna on my setup up here and run it to this, which would be real easy to do.
And all that stuff, and have
Just
cabling running down
to see what I can pick up.
Walls and stuff without making too big of a mess. And I like TVDXing, and on a good day, especially in the morning, I can swing the antenna one way and pick up Greensboro, Channel 2, and then the other way and hit Channel 7, WITN in Washington or Greenville. Also, I used to like to try to pick up signals from weather satellite. That's a little bit tricky to do. You have to have a really good receiver and a really good antenna with a preamp. I hope to get back to that someday soon. And this morning I went to Walmart at 6 o'clock, and they hadn't opened the store yet. Said to wait about 10 minutes, and I was the first one in line, and I had a bandana around my nose and mouth. So that's about the way it's been around here. This is N4, YFU, John, inside Raleigh. Beltline.
I'm with you, man. I love the TV DX. That's a lot of fun. Even with the HD stuff now that most of the stations have got their antennas straightened back out, it's a fun thing to see what you can pick up. And talking about the mask, this is a kind of a weird time. You can actually still get away with wearing your Halloween costume and still not look weird, just about, with all this that's going on. Thanks for joining us. And I'll have to get with you sometime, see what kind of antenna you've got. We'll discuss that. Maybe one day I'll hear you on the when we're not doing a net, and we can talk about that. WA4OSS, Charlie and Nightdale, you're up.
WA4OSS. Well, good evening, everybody. Got all the grass cut, all the sticks, the pine cones up. Worked in the yard a little more than that after I got food. Getting a few other things done, so had a good day. And being a newcomer to electronics, I don't go back sometimes, a little over 60 years and that stuff. Started out day one, even before I got my license, and still today, I guess I like getting a hold of a good piece of test gear, doing some test and measurements, and trying to see if I can improve on the setup on something. It's something I have. I enjoy that. Always have. That's probably my favorite thing to do in electronics, and that of course goes along with ham radio and plus 40 years of broadcasting. And I did go to the grocery store yesterday. I didn't wear a mask, but I thought about it. I thought maybe I'd get my toboggan and pull it down over my eyes, right down around my glasses. Put my mask on, and I was going to write with my Sharpie pen right across the nose, Wuhan. Right at the mouth level, I was going to put Willie. And I think if I did that, those people would stay out of my way.
Wuhan, Willie.
WA4OSS.
Dude, that was awesome. I'll tell you, I went one step further. I saw these masks on this thing that popped up on Facebook, and you could order the mask for whatever breed of animal you had, whether it was a dog or a cat. And I thought, well, they're not going to have a Welsh Terrier, which is what we've got. Lo and behold, they had a Welsh Terrier that looked almost exactly like ours. I told Susan, I said, I know by the time I get this mask, nobody will probably be, using masks anymore. But I said, I'm going to order it. It's like $17. And it was, suitable for, COVID or whatever. So I ordered that thing a few days ago, and I got a thing today. It had been shipped. So I will look like our dog when I'm out in public, at least facial-wise. So I thought that would be a lot of fun. All right, here's the check-ins I had via Facebook that were in and out. Either had something to do or their signal wasn't good enough to get in. I had KW4BT, Herb in Middlesex, in and out. N4NTO, Trip, down in Tarboro, he was in and out. Jeff, N0RNE, in and out. And W4ARX, Richard, I added you to the list as in and out, and you're down, I believe, south of Williamston, down that way. So that brings us up to, I've got a question here on the Facebook. Is there any way I can take my test? My license is expired. Yes, and I will get you that information via Facebook Messenger. It's a buddy of mine from the campground down at Rodanthe. So we'll see. Now that I'm hoping there's at least one or two ways he can do it, and if they're releasing restrictions on the Outer Banks here shortly, testing may resume in the next few months. All right, let's throw it out and see if there's anybody else that wants to join this net here tonight, either via the Facebook if you can't make it in on the radio or on the radio. Call net control KI4DCR.
KI4DCR, KW4PT. I'm going to change that now to N. KI4DCR. This is WA4ITL Brock in Wake Forest. Just got in, so just check me in and out, Charles. In and out.
And SFST.
That control, this is Influence CK.
K4DCR.
This is K4ITL.
Todd, Mobile, and Wade County headed into work. I'm in and out, John. Everybody have a good evening.
KI4DCR. Please check in and out. KN4WWM. Brian from Rocky Mountain.
All right, had to pause there. I got more stations than I thought. Got a recheck from Herb, KW4BT. He's in. Be back to you in a minute. Brock is in and out, WA4IHM. I have got N4NCK Bucky is in. I have K4ILX Todd. Man, I knew you had to check in and out because I saw you on the Facebook watching, so that was cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. KN4WWM, Brian in Rocky Mount is in and out. I have KE4QBW monitoring by Facebook. Charlie, I'm going to put you in here as in and out. Okay. And let's see. So that brings us back up to Herb, KW4BT. And then we'll pick up Bucky after that.
Well, I tell you what, man, I have eaten 2 cheeseburgers and I'm on my second beer. And this net is still going on. So
Hey, Charlie.
Anyway, and look on the Facebook live feed there. You're about 20 seconds behind, though. There's a substantial delay. But that's to be expected. Anyway, had a great day, man. Went up to the protest up there in Raleigh. And me and the dog just drove around a few times and then came back home. Yeah, don't believe what the TV's telling you. They're lying to you. Saying there's only a couple hundred folks up there. No. Probably closer to 10,
A couple thousand.
15,000. I've heard estimates as high as 20.
Wow.
And there's another one next week going to be even bigger. So, anyway, back home, cooked up some cheeseburgers on the grill, having a good time. Gorgeous day outside. And that's about all I got, man. I'm just going to finish this beer off and get a cup of coffee and sit on deck and watch where the sun's already gone down. Just watch the sky get dark on KW4BT.
Hey, appreciate you getting back up with me and joining back in the net tonight, and enjoyed talking with you this afternoon and sharing similar views on some things. That was cool. All right, Brock was in and out, WA4IHM. And yeah, you mentioned the delay on the Facebook. I think they've started doing that on purpose in case somebody does something stupid, commits a crime, whatever, they can block it out and get rid of it. So I think that's the reason behind that. Because I'm on Google Fiber and I've got a super fast internet connection. N4NCK, Bucky in Durham. Bucky, pull down that mask and tell us what's going on in Durham.
K4LKG Mobile.
Ellen, can you stand by? Bucky, go ahead.
BK.
Go ahead, Bucky.
Yeah, I thought I heard a mobile coming now. Nevertheless, it's not much going on over here in Durham. It's been a quiet day. Chilled out, but that's a good thing. That's the way we like it. And I don't have that much. I just woke up and heard the net going on and jumped in here for the numbers. So everybody have a good one. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Info NCK.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you checking in. And yes, Alan, W4LKG, got you mobile. It's your turn. You're up.
All right. Hello, everybody on the net. W4LKG Mobile. We're almost up to the lake. I've got to see the area. just wanted to just check in and just say hello to everybody.
You know what it's time
Come back
for.
here and get some stuff I need to work on at the new house and things like that. But
We're turning the page, as Bob Seger would say. We filled up the front side of the page. 18, 19 check-ins on to page 2. Hey, thanks. You had a pretty good signal up there, too. I really, really appreciate you adding one to the count. We just turned the page, as Bob Seger would say. We filled up one page of check-ins. And I just got Thomas, WW4TLB, by internet. And he is in and out. Appreciate that, Thomas. Good talking to you today on the telephone. Anybody else that wants to join us? We're at the bottom of the second round. Let's throw it out. Anybody else wants to join us on the PCRN 220 RAG2net? We got plenty of time. 23 away from 8 o'clock. Call Net Control, K4ITL, and get yourself live on the Facebook. Last call. Nobody else? We'll close it down. Last chance. KI4DCR looking for check-ins. All right, I think that's going to do it. Wow, what a turnout. Unfreaking real. Really appreciate everybody, man. This was great. Robert will be here tomorrow. I'm going to turn this video over to KI4CFS Martin, and he is going to compose a 2-minute intro I did about how to call a net and what's necessary and how I do it into this whole net that we've had. And I have no idea what he's going to do with it next, but he's really good at doing that. And yes, Thomas, WW4TLB got you in and out. The video is delayed. So by the time you hear this, the net will probably be over. So I'm going to close the net down. Since it's almost 20 of 8, we didn't get any more check-ins. If you want to find out more about PCRN, Piedmont Coastal Repeater Network, it's PCRN.net. Memberships, donations, support the repeaters, and they're welcomed and encouraged. I'm going to return this repeater back to normal activities. KI4DCR out. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I might live stream Roberts tomorrow. We'll just see how things go. I'm going to save this video. It should be available on the Facebook page indefinitely. Thanks so much. 73s.